Hey guys, Jay here. Welcome back to the channel. Hope you're all doing really well. Today we are in my kitchen, which is a bit different. We're not in my office, but that's because we're doing a different type of video. We are doing a gear review video. So today we're going to be looking at the Cinepeer CM25 watt light from Zhiyun. And they were kind enough to send me this light. They've not paid me to talk about this video, but they did send it me to just have a look at, see what I thought. But they're not paying me to say anything specific, so all thoughts on my own. Yeah, so let's dive straight into it. So in the box, you get the light itself, you get a diffusion cover for the light, and it also comes with a USB Type-C to USB Type-C cable for charging. Quickly running through some technical specs of the light. It runs at 25 watts, it has a max illumination of 3360 lux, it weighs 220 grams, it has a colour range of 2700 to 6200 Kelvin, a CRI value of 96 and a TLCI value of 97, so the colour accuracy should be pretty spot on. It's got 35 minutes of runtime at full power. It can run on the battery and it can be run externally via USB Type-C. It has a 1/4 thread on the bottom for mounting options, and it's got two knobs on the side, one for controlling intensity and one for controlling the CCT range. So first impressions of the light when I opened the box was that it's big. It's a very big pocket light. I do like the dials, but I did find cases where I was turning one and I accidentally nudged the other. Maybe that's just me and my big hands, but the knobs are quite close together and it doesn't take much to just nudge them. In terms of brightness, my camera's at f3 at the moment and that's at 100%. So it's quite bright. I think I've got my Amaran F22C at 40%, something like that at the moment. So you can see it's pretty bright. So we're going to quickly talk about some negatives or cons of the light that I found. The first one, and this is the biggest nitpick thing really for me, is that there's no app control on the light. So if you want to set it down somewhere, you know, you've got it turned on in the set, you look at it and you think, oh yeah, that's fine. Oh, actually, no, wait, I need to go and change something. You've got to go up to the light itself and physically change it. You can't do it from your phone, which for me is, yeah, it's not ideal. If you're working on your own, it's not so bad, but if you're working on a set with a team and you're having to stop everything to walk into shot or into set, wherever, to just adjust dial on a light, it's not ideal at all. The second thing I find is the silicone diffusion cover is, I don't know, I can see this breaking after heavy use, and the fact that it only attaches on one side, so you can see that whilst it's very snug there, this is loose and it doesn't really keep hold, I guess. It's not the end of the world, this is super nitpicky stuff, but yeah, something to be mindful of, I guess. I can see it breaking after a while. The other thing is these knobs. I did mention it earlier, but they're really close to each other. And when I've been testing the light, I did find that I was nudging them accidentally. It could be that I've just got massive fingers. It's very easy to nudge and you do need to be very particular about what you're doing with it. And the last thing is the runtime. It's 35 minutes at 100%, which is really bright, and I don't know why you would be running it at 100% anyway, but it's not long at all compared to other pocket lights I've run with, which normally have like an hour or so. You can battery power it as well externally, but it just means that you're going to have the light and you're going to have something off to the side or a cable somewhere off to the side of it. And if you're mounting it somewhere and you are powering it with a battery or whatever, it is just something else to consider. So a longer length of time for battery power would have been nice, but again, this is all super nitpicky stuff. It doesn't make the quality of the light any worse or anything like that. It is just the nice little quality of life features that I think it's missing that I personally am a bit more used to, but it's not a negative on the light as a whole, if that makes sense. So we're going to talk about the pros now, and one of the things that I did really like about the light is the surface area. It's a lot bigger compared to other pocket lights. You can see here I've got it just sat next to my Aperture MC, and there is a massive size difference. And all that means is that if you are using this light to key a subject or fill or anything like that, it is going to be softer because the source of light is just bigger. So if you are looking for softer pocket lights, this may be the way to go. I think that's a huge benefit, and especially at the price point itself. So another positive is the fact that it is bi-colour. So I remember when I first started, the one light that I had was just daylight. So if I wanted to get a different colour out of it, I had to gel it. So having a dial on here to just quickly move from one colour temperature to the other is really nice, and it just saves so much time. And I know I did mention it in my cons, but I do like the fact that you have the option to power it externally. Yes, it's got the 35-minute runtime, but depending on how you're using this light, you could just plug it in and leave it alone and it will run and you don't need to worry about it. I do like that that's a feature. I think it is very useful. Useful. I do think it is really useful depending on the use case and how you've got it set up in your shots. So yeah, I think that's really nice. And the last positive, and I think this is one of the biggest reasons to pick this up, is that it's really affordable. The price point is set at $69 at the time of recording this video, which I think is really, really good, to be honest, especially if you are just starting out and you're not looking at spending hundreds on a light, but you are interested in getting into lighting. I think having a tool that is quite bright and bi-colour is important. So to be able to get into the space at such a low price point is, yeah, a huge benefit. So I'm just going to quickly run you through some examples that I shot with this light, just to run it through its paces and see how I got on with it. So in this first one, you can see I'm stood outside my house and probably not wearing the best stuff. I look like I'm about to rob my own house, but yeah, so the light is just off to camera left, just hidden behind the door frame really. And you can see all it's doing is just lighting up my cheek, and it's giving me a really nice eye light as well. So you can see here it is off and here it is on. And it is at 100% here. It was quite a bright day as well, and the sun is coming from the same direction. So you're not going to be outshining the sun with it at all. Like, make no mistake, it's not that bright, but it does do a good job of just filling in the space a little bit more. And I do really like the eye light it adds, just because if we would have the light inside the house, we would have got reflections. So having it off to the side, I think, yeah, just really makes it look nice and just adds a bit more dimension to my face. It's casting a nice shadow, giving me a nice eye light. I think it works well outside, but it wouldn't be the first go-to as a key light, I guess. And in this second example, you can see me, I'm just sat on my bed looking equally as menacing. I don't know why I went for menacing in these two shots, but yeah, I'm sat on my bed, just looking off to the side, and I wanted to use the CM25 to emulate or motivate the lamp that's behind me, just so I'm not completely silhouetted. So here's the shot with the CM25 off, and here it is with the light on. So you can see it's just adding an extra bit of wrap to my face, and I do think it does do a good job here, to be honest. I would be quite happy with this. It's not the softest light in the world, but neither was the lamp. If you think about, if you're motivating a smaller source, you're not going to want a big massive source. It's just not going to look as realistic, I guess. So I was quite happy with it. I think it's usable. Just as a third example, real quick, I've just been sat here and just like a hair light kind of thing that could be quite nice, especially in YouTube studios. Maybe in my office, to be fair. One of the things I do struggle with in the office upstairs is just finding places to put lights. I'm changing it up like every episode, so this could be quite nice, and you can plug it in, so I could just set it and forget it maybe. I think this is definitely one of the better use cases for the lights, instead of using it as like a key light, because you can't really diffuse it anymore. You just lose too much output. Just using it as it is, as like a little hair light, fill light, kicker type thing. I think that does bits, that does. I'm not mad at that at all. So in terms of who it's actually for, I do think it is for the individual who is just getting into the space. Maybe you have put your first camera package together and that was probably expensive enough as it is. So to have this for $69, have it be as bright as it is, have it be bi-colour, and really that is all you need. Yes, it is missing all the bells and whistles of the app functionality, a longer battery life. When you're still getting into it and you are trying to understand the fundamentals, that's all just a distraction. If you use this and you understand what it does and how it interacts with what's going on in your scene, that's going to be way more beneficial for you than faffing around with apps and trying to get your head around another piece of tech. It turns on, it's bi-colour, it's bright, do with it what you want, and I think, yeah, it's great for individuals just getting into the space. I don't think you'll see it on professional sets, and that is because you are missing those quality of life features. It's not marketed towards those people anyway, so I don't think that's an issue, really. It is exactly what it needs to be. It's a cheap, affordable pocket light for the individual just getting into the space, and if that sounds like you, maybe consider picking it up. you can use my product code in the description, which was kindly given to me by Zhiyun. They're not paying me at all. I don't get any kickback from that product code. It's purely to pass on to you guys. So yeah, feel free. But that is it for today's video. Let me know what you think. If you've maybe picked this up, what are your thoughts on it? Maybe what are your use cases? Let me know. I'm always interested. If you like what you saw, maybe you learned something new, consider subscribing, comment down below, all that good stuff, and I shall see you in the next one. Peace.